day one, I can launch that CRM and we can start using it. I mean, that's a gold mine for anybody looking for a CRM. You're in there day one, grabbing those leads, communicating, logging everything, and then dashboard reporting. How is that not a win?
Hello everyone, and welcome to the first video of our new series, Modern CRM Confessions, where we learn about the good, the bad, and the downright confusing about CRMs and what's next. I'm Julia Hanold, Managing Director here at OrangeDot, and I'm joined by one of my favorite people, Jen Skrzypczak, our Director of Sales. Thanks for joining us, Jen.
Thanks, Julia. Glad to be here.
So Jen, tell me a little bit about your experience with CRMs. When did you start using CRMs, and what has been the most impactful part about having a CRM as part of your job?
So I have been using CRMs for many years. I've been in sales for a very long time. Started out using Salesforce, moved into HubSpot, and now we're at Monday CRM, which I'm in love with.
Right, absolutely. And there's so many options these days. What CRM do we pick? I mean, you're told this one has the bells and whistles, this one's easy to use, this one's the sales teams love. So it can be really confusing as an organization trying to understand what CRM is going to be best for my team, right? So in your role, what are the things about a CRM that are important to you that you want to use on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, wow. First, ease of use. If nobody wants to use it, and if it's not easy to use, the information's not going to go in there. So really understanding how things go in, making it easy for the team to put the information in, but also can it connect to other things? It's really important to not have it siloed. I think that's a really important factor for picking the correct CRM, that it can connect to all other aspects, other teams, and make a collaborative space.
Absolutely. And the teams that you've been working with, do you get any direct feedback from them on the CRMs that they've used in the past? And is there anything that other teams are looking for in a new CRM?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having a team that's very embedded and wants to understand where things are coming from, where their leads are, how they're communicating, it's really important to be able to see all of those things. So I get feedback all the time on, where can I see the history of everything that's going on with this deal? Where can I see where this prospect came from? It's important to understand the history of the client to be able to see those things, and then understanding how they go through the life cycle of the client. So pre-sale, sale, post-sale, those are important things that we need to focus on.
Okay, now Jen, let's talk about what a CRM really is, client relationship management. And so when we think about that, it's about the data. It's so important that the data inside the CRM is not only accurate and up to date, but that it's usable, right? I know you had mentioned user-friendly, and I think that's one of the things we hear a lot with feedback about the larger CRMs in today's space is that it's not that user-friendly, right? When the sales team needs to go in and within seconds find out when was that last conversation, what's that next touch going to be, if they have to click through 6 objects to get there, they're not going to make the right pitch. They're not going to make the right call, and that's how you lose revenue, right? I mean, these little differences are how sales teams can close faster, more efficiently, without having to grow your resources. So talk to me a little bit about, I know you worked in the past with HubSpot, and then you wanted to migrate off of that into the Monday CRM. So tell me about kind of what your struggles were in your previous CRM and why moving to Monday was a good move for your team.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving over, initially when I was in HubSpot, having to add a property, waiting for somebody to add it, and then also none of our views look the same because we would all have to have a conversation to make sure all of our views were there. We were all adding the same information. It just became very cumbersome.
Right.
And then also having to report off of that. Going into trying to figure out how to report something, you have to filter it 7 different ways, add all these different metrics to just get to a report. It was so convoluted and very difficult for me to get to something, let alone guide a team on how to see all of that information. So when I made the jump over to the Monday CRM, I'm not technical at all. I'm sales, and I was able to actually migrate us over into the Monday CRM. So that's how user-friendly it truly is to be able to bring all of my opportunities, all of my leads, all of that contact information. It was able to go in very seamlessly into Monday, and now I can filter it, I can add different views, I'm able to add widgets to see those reports, and I can do that within seconds versus having to wait days for somebody to respond to add a property to my, to my leads board.
And these are critical things. I mean, if your team needs a data point to make a decision, that's not something that can wait a week for a ticket to be closed by your team. And tell me a little bit about your team reporting. In Monday, they have that pretty built in. So talk to me a little bit about how having that activity and that tracking for your team help kind of excel their selling.
Yeah, so having everything right there in a widget, I have a sales dashboard that has the entire team on there. I can filter it immediately to see what each individual person has, which makes it so clear. And then you can just save that view. Right. That's how easy it is. You don't have to rebuild the report. You just save a different view, have a different board for them to be able to view that information. So it's really quick, and everyone has the visibility instantaneously to what they're doing. Sales activity is the same. I can see anytime anybody sends an email, we have it integrated with our Google. I can see immediately that they've emailed, an activity is logged. We can create automations, notifications, all these things off of just one action in an email, and then adding the AI functionality on top of that.
Oh, yeah.
That brings in summaries, tells me, how quickly my lead might close, gives me indicators. Just adding that just bumped it up to a different level.
Absolutely. And I mean, we hear this all the time with teams where, like you had mentioned previously, you all had to either have the same views or somewhat same views, and that could be really complicated because even within the same sales team, two different reps can operate very differently or visually be different learners, right? And so having someone be able to view their pipeline in a Kanban versus a table view or see a calendar for activities versus a table view could mean the difference in their day-to-day productivity. Right? They're not having to search through all of that. So I think that's a huge difference that we've seen in the Monday CRM is that UI flexibility, really thinking about the end user and not so much about the kind of leadership overarch of what they want that CRM to be. So Jen, we talked about how you've used many different CRMs in the past. Talk to me about your previous CRM. I know you're using a new one. What was your past experience and what were the issues that you had that made you want to move to a different CRM?
Yeah, absolutely. So previous CRMs, it's been kind of overworked, a little bit difficult to get to things, having to reach out to an admin to add different pieces of information makes it really challenging because I want instant data. Everybody wants instant data.
Of course, yeah.
So having a sales team, having people really be able to see where everything is, it's so difficult to have that touch point. But now, moving into the Monday CRM, it is so much easier for me to just add things as needed, as, the user-friendly, you can click and drag and drop and move and add things to it. That just makes it so much easier for me and the team to be able to filter it for my view, their view, just having all of those right at your fingertips to be able to do it instantaneously, so much easier.
Absolutely. Well, that's great to hear. I hear, I've implemented many different CRMs in my experience, and I hear that a lot with feedback when we have different teams that are looking for a change. A lot of the times it's really just, I can't get the data that I need. My team can't put the information in. We're losing time every day. And so it really is that sales teams are, moving at 60 miles an hour every day, and they really need that user-friendly interface. I think a lot of times what we hear, though, back against that is, well, I want to make sure that my CRM is secure, right? I don't have people changing things willy-nilly and it's Wild West in there and we don't know what's going on. And that's a really important piece that I think I wanted to hear your opinion on a little bit. Moving to a new CRM, are there any concerns about how you can set those permissions and make sure that teams are secure, like your CRM is secure, but that your team is flexible, right?
Yeah, there's definitely some really great permissions that I can add on. So as a system admin, I can set those permissions to where people can have the flexibility to add certain things, but I really don't want them to change everything because we need to keep certain aspects of it standardized, because if it's not standardized, you can't report off of it. So we want to make sure that there's aspects of columns and information that we're grabbing. Also having the customized columns to where once I add a status to something, it requires me to fill out information because as a salesperson, and any salesperson knows, you're trying to get through it fast.
Oh, yeah.
So you tend to skip some steps. This forces me to add that information in, which I love. And that's what allows my team to have all of that standardized data while still letting people have the customized features because the robust system governance to where I can lock down certain pieces.
That's really important because that flexibility of the UI is how the team is going to be able to put that data in and move faster. But we can't have every single rep deciding to add a column or a data point, right? That's where sales leadership comes in and says, hey, these are the data points that we're tracking, but you guys get that info in as quick as you can. Yeah. Amazing. Jen, you mentioned that you moved to a new CRM. What was that migration process like for you? Was it complicated? Did the system make it easier? Like how was that experience overall?
I made the move in less than a day. So taking all of my data, pushing it into Monday, there is an import feature that allows me to bring everything in. I'm able to map all of the leads, the contacts, the accounts, everything comes in and connects natively, which, obviously got me up and running really fast. Because when you're transitioning from one to the other, you don't really have a ton of time, and you don't really want a lot of downtime. So making that switch over to Monday, super easy, very user-friendly, and I was up and running, connected my email, connected my calendar, added all that information in, and I was able to start emailing right away. It was logging, tracking, adding all the deal metrics, and then once we start adding, AI features onto it, it makes it even easier. But yeah, that move, super easy for me, and if it's easy for me, I feel like it's easy for most people.
You should give yourself more credit, but I totally get that. It's especially when you don't have a team, right? If you're really migrating something yourself, that's difficult. Talk to me about the adoption after that. Like, how was the team after you had this new CRM? And I know we had some complaints, right, about the past CRM. So was it immediately positive, or were there concerns? Just talk to me about adoption.
Yeah, I feel like at first, it's always a little bit of a learning curve to say, okay, what's here? Where's everything at? It's different. But adding those views really help people get a little bit more comfortable with everything, because you can customize how you actually look at the data.
Right.
So I have my specific view with the things that I need to see. My team has their specific views. They can look at it in a Kanban view or the pipeline view. You can open the card view and see all the details of that specific client. That was really great to help drive that adoption, because people do want to see specific items first. And I don't want to have to push somebody into the way that I work, but I still want to collect the data, which I can still do. They can just visualize it different. So we all have our different views, and then it all rolls up into the same reporting.
Absolutely. Amazing. And is there anything that your team is doing from a hypercare perspective? Or are they getting support from anyone? Like what do you think is important from a long-term success and adoption of your CRM? How would you treat your team?
Yeah, so we have a change management board, which is great, because in Monday I can have a board in the CRM that allows me to add kind of those change management features. So if somebody sees something that they don't really want in the CRM, or they want to add something that we all want to talk about as a team, we can have that portion there, but they can also just add a column. Mm-hmm. We don't all have to use it, but they can add a column, and then we can have a conversation about it. If we all want to use that same column, great, let's all add it, but it's there. It's able to be used, and I don't need an admin. I can, the team is allowed to use it. I'm allowed to use it. Mm-hmm. Everybody can do all the same things, but we don't need somebody to constantly upkeep and check on things.
And then talk to me a little bit about the costs of that, right? Because we think about the cost of the CRM overall, but there's also the costs of support and long-term. And what were the differences in cost between your previous CRMs and your current experience?
Yeah, that's a really good point. With HubSpot, we did have to have a system admin. We had to have somebody that was constantly monitoring, making changes, making adjustments, kind of tweaking as things happened, but also making connections, because we did connect a lot of our other tools, and it was not as native. We had to add a lot of things that were custom using API coding. So there was definitely a heft to it. We had people that were attached, people that were getting paid to do that job. Switching over to Monday.com, we don't need that system admin. I'm able to admin the system. The team is able to admin the system. So we're able to add things as needed. It's not going to change anything in the system. So that's what's also great about Monday, is you can add a board, you can add a dashboard, you can add a widget, you can add a column. It's not going to change anything else for anybody. You get a whole toolbox of information. So when I look at that holistically, saving time, ease of use, training is so much easier. Just getting everybody in there, day one, I can launch that CRM and we can start using it. I mean, that's a gold mine for anybody looking for a CRM. You're in there day one, grabbing those leads, communicating, logging everything, and then dashboard reporting. Like, how is that not a win?
Absolutely. I mean, the return on investment there is so fast and huge, because in our space, I've seen many different CRM implementations. I've seen some take 6 months, 9 months, usually 12 months, maybe more than that, right? Especially these larger CRMs. I mean, a year to get up, to get those reports and what you need. And so it's for you to be able to get up to speed that fast is an absolute game changer for sure.
Yeah. I mean, me getting in there day one, probably not the same as everybody else, but that's not true because there are templates in there that you can just load things in. And that's why it was so easy. There's some tweaking for a week or two after that, but compare that to months for some of the other CRMs that I've been in. And like you said, a year for another one. That's definitely game changer for anybody that's in a sales role.
I think that's a huge difference because like you said, you got in there, but you're able to use it while you're tweaking it. And from my experience, I don't know many CRMs that really allow you to do that, right? And so that's a really interesting feature there. So Jen, thank you for joining us today for our very first video of Modern CRM Confessions. It was great to have you, and we can't wait to have you next time.
Great to be here.
Thanks everyone for watching our very first video of our Modern CRM Confessions series. Today we learned a little bit about how HubSpot and Monday compare as CRMs. On our next episode, you'll learn about a client who made the switch from another CRM to the Monday CRM. If you're curious to learn more now, please click the link below to schedule a free consultation.